or good afternoon, everyone, depending upon your time zone. Appreciate you joining us here for our BlueCielo Meridian Enterprise 2016 update webinar. Just a quick look at the agenda for the session. Got 5 bullet items on here. We want to take just a second to update everyone just a little bit on how BlueCielo is doing as a company, because you probably don't hear a lot on that, and that is an important thing. Then we also want to touch on a new licensing model that's out there for new BlueCielo customers. If you're an existing customer, it most likely doesn't impact you, but you may see things out on the website and other literature that can be confusing. So I just want to make everyone aware of that. And of course, the core of our presentation will then be about the new features in Meridian 2016. And then also we want to talk about supported software for compatibility purposes with Meridian 2016. And then we'll wrap up with the Q&A as actually mentioned. Now, a few of us from the company went to Innsbruck, Austria about a month ago, I believe it was, for the BlueCielo Partner Conference, and had a number of presentations on updates, new products coming down the road, just a lot of things. And the CEO, William Jan Schulten, made a presentation at the beginning and brought us up to date on just how BlueCielo was performing as a business, as a company. Don't want to go into all the details, but the answer is BlueCielo is actually performing very well. Overall, in 2015, their overall sales were up 26%, which that counts new seats of software, software maintenance, services, just everything. And then for a software company, the actual license revenue of new seats is probably the most important thing they look at, and that was even stronger with 34% growth. And the employee count is now up to 166 employees. So we've been working with BlueCielo since 2000, and over that time we've seen tremendous growth both in revenue and employee count. So they're actually continuing to grow greatly and perform very well. And I thought that just a little snippet to pass that on would be important and beneficial to people. Next thing I want to talk about is the new licensing model that you see out there for BlueCielo. If you go to their website, this is what you'll see, which is different than what you're probably familiar with if you're an existing customer. You'll see Meridian Base, Meridian Standard, and Meridian Plus. And then down below Meridian Base, it talks about control your drawings and drawing management to connect departments. The next level up, and these are higher levels of the software, where Base is, of course, the base level, Plus is the highest level. Meridian Standard talks about managing your project teams, and then engineering information management made easier. And then Meridian Plus, the highest level, talks about overall company profitability, and then a single solution to increase the return on your assets. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what software is included in each one of those levels to help you understand why those focuses come about. So each of the 3 levels of the software is based on a particular bundle of server modules. Now, if you're just using Meridian Concurrent Classic licenses, you've just got the basic Meridian server software, then the end user licenses, none of the other server modules. Going forward, and this is for new customers only, BlueCielo has switched to a named user license model and not a concurrent or floating license model. Now, if you're an existing customer on concurrent or floating licenses, you will stay that way, but new customers would be named, where you would buy a license for each person who would use the software at any time, and not the number of licenses you need for the number of simultaneous users. And so existing customers can continue to purchase more Meridian Concurrent Classic licenses and or server modules as needed based on your the old model which you purchased under. So that's been a concern for a number of people that we wanted to explain. And then looking at the different levels, and again, this is with the new softwares like Base, would include the basic Meridian server software, plus the Publisher and Explorer modules. Standard, the main thing here, or main things, would be the advanced project workflow for concurrent engineering, and then also global collaboration framework for multi-site replication. And then the big thing with Plus is that it gets into asset management or linking up with your maintenance management systems for linking relevant documents to all your particular assets. And they also, another chart they have where Base, is about drawing management, Standard is about engineering data management, Plus is about asset lifecycle information management. And now they also will talk about the licenses, contributor, consumer, and collaborator, where your power user licenses would be your contributor licenses. So hopefully that explains a little bit about that new licensing model so people aren't confused or taken aback when they see that. Now I actually want to get into talking about the Meridian 2016 update. And this slide also talks about, it's been a continuing focus area for BlueCielo. So 2015 and 2016, 2017 will continue on along this path. The main focus areas, one is centralization of Meridian servers, where more and more companies are wanting to go to a central data center where the Meridian server is housed, and then have one or more operating locations where the end users are that are at one or more different locations on the wide area network. And BlueCielo is working to make their software more and more of a fit in those types of environments. And then BlueCielo is also focusing more and more on data exchange with outside engineering firms and contractors, since that's such a big part of things with most BlueCielo customers. So we'll talk about some of those features. CAD integrations, so that's about supporting newer versions of the CAD software, plus also having deeper integrations, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more depth. More about connecting, managing assets, and linking to maintenance systems, and then also focusing more on using PDF as the document of record. So that means, when somebody goes to access a document to do their job, to make a repair or follow instructions, they're going to a published PDF document instead of looking at a native DWG file or a scanned TIFF or a Word document. So BlueCielo is making more and more improvements in the ability to generate quick and accurate PDFs. Now, what's new in Meridian Base? And probably the main thing most of you will see if you want to take advantage of it is the enhanced web client, also better performance with scalability improvements for quick searches, quick retrievals, and we'll talk more about the renditioning of PDFs, iFilters, Explorer Mobile. So these are some of the things we'll touch on here in this next section. And then I included this chart up here in the corner to kind of remind you of what's actually in Base. Now, some of you may not have Publisher or Explorer currently, although it is included in the new Base server for new customers. BlueCielo has been working, this has probably been over the last 3 or 4 releases, of continuing to enhance the web client, what they call the Power Web. We've got the old Power User, Power Desktop. That's a desktop installed client. BlueCielo is working more and more to make the Power Web a total functionality replacement for the desktop Power User. That also tie into the centralization theme we'll talk about a little bit more. So some of the new things in the 2016 Power Web are ribbon interface, improved navigation bar, improved title block synchronization, and built-in audit reports. I should also mention, if you're an existing customer and have BlueCielo Meridian concurrent classic licenses, you have the option of using either the desktop Power User or the Power Web. Each of those pull from the same license pool, so you have flexibility on a user-by-user basis or from a time-to-time basis from the same user to use either the Power User on the desktop or the Power Web. And here you can see the improved user interface with the web client, where it's now you can see everything on a single screen, which that's been the last couple of releases, I believe. So you can see your document list, your property pages, and your view all on a single screen, just like the Power User desktop client. And you can see expanded use of pull-down menus. See the ribbon menu that talked about there, so that the user interface for the web client is getting better and better all the time. And then also in the web client, there are greatly enhanced audit trails available in the base server, so you can see there's more details there that are available. Now what I want to do next is go to a quick movie so you can see the new web client interface in action.
So what we see here is the web client of Meridian 2016, and we can see a navigation view, a folder structure that we're looking at several documents within a project, this particular project, and there's several documents within it. To act on them, we of course have the context menu, but we also have, in addition to that now, ribbon functionality that allows us to act on the entire vault or the folder itself. Let's say, for example, in this case, we're going to reassign a project manager. In order to make the ribbon pinned and make it always available, we'll just go ahead and pin it so it's always available. And we'll go ahead and start using the functionality that we need. For example, we're reassigning the manager for this project to Mark, and we'll thank him for volunteering to take over the project. So normal functionality that we're going to be using day in and day out can be accessed through the ribbon, and of course the context menu is available too. We see that there are several documents here. For example, these two that we're working on, I'm logged in as a user called Adam, and I see that I am currently modifying these documents, and what I want to do is select both of them and then continue on the workflow. So from the ribbon menu, I can then continue to use the functionality to start the review, which is this next step in the workflow process, ready for review. So your normal work processes can then continue to happen, but now they're easier through the use of the ribbons. And we'll assign it to these two managers and engineer for review, and it's ready to go. Okay? Let's go back. There we go. So we'll let process finish. So what we're doing is using the normal functionality that's available in the Meridian system to make it a lot easier to access through a common ribbon, making it more in line with current technologies and so on. Also, a full audit log is maintained of actions and changes within the system. Users and administrators can look at, search, and even filter, and even export this audit log. But no one can change or remove the data. So let's also take a look at this right now too, in the live software. Yep, that's been done. So within the Meridian system, now every action that we're doing is audited and logged. So we can also access this from the Vault menu audit log. The audit log is accessible to anyone with sufficient privileges, and we can see here what's been going on. For example, the changes that I just made that were impacted by our workflow change are logged here, and we go down the line and look at further changes. We can see other items that were audited. I also notice here that I am filtering this view on the current user, Adam, for example, and I can apply other filters and even apply changes to the columns that I'm viewing here. All this, of course, is controlled by your administrator. Okay?
All right, so that's just a quick look at the client. Again, the main theme is it's becoming more and more like the desktop power user, which that ties into the second theme, which is that centralization theme that we talked about, where if you're working on a local area network where your Meridian server and your Meridian desktop clients are in the same facility, you're working over a local area network, the desktop power user works extremely well. But behind the scenes, that power user is using DCOM communications between the client and the server, which is a very intensive, chatty communications protocol, so that if your Meridian server was at a different location on a wide area network, not in your building, the desktop power user, because of the DCOM, just really does not work that well. The performance is slow. So the idea is, get users shifted over to the web client, and then the Meridian server can be at a separate data center, and then your end users can be at one or more locations communicating with it and still working very quickly. Also, Hypertrieve is the back-end database that Meridian runs off of. BlueCielo is continuing to make more and more improvements to Hypertrieve. So you can see they went to Hypertrieve 5 with Meridian 2014 SP1. So if you're on plain 2014 or lower, you're on Hypertrieve 3. So you can see you got about a 4 to 5 times performance increase from 3 to 5, and then another probably 60% performance increase going to the Hypertrieve with Meridian 2015. So again, the thing with Hypertrieve goes to centralization in that you can have more users from more different sites hitting the same server effectively, or if you've just got a huge number of users and a huge vault at one location, you're going to get better and better performance than what you had before. Also, BlueCielo has introduced with Meridian 2016 site caching. Now this software will not be part of the update for any existing customers, but also going to centralization. If your vault is in a central location, your users are at remote locations, you're still going to have the problem if you got a huge drawing file or a huge inventor model that you want to get off the server. That's still going to have to go across your wide area network. That's a huge file. That's still going to be slow. the site caching allows you to just have simple caching servers located at any location so that all user interaction for opening, closing, saving files is to a local server, and then behind the scenes back to the main server. So that's another important piece for centralization. BlueCielo also has their global collaboration framework software for multi-site replication. Does something similar, except it requires a full Meridian server at each location. So you've got a pretty heavy install at each site, which is kind of the opposite of what people want with a centralization strategy. So the SiteCache is a better fit for a centralization model than the global collaboration framework. Now, improved rendition support, that goes to the Meridian Publisher, where the Meridian Publisher can be set up to automatically render an AutoCAD drawing or an inventor drawing or a Word document or a lot of different types of files to PDF or other format automatically upon release. And then when people go to view or you want to send files out, that can be the PDF instead of having the native CAD file. So one of the things in 2016 is improved rendition support, where there are new render engines available for Revit, AutoCAD DWG, Microsoft DGN, and Raster documents. And then more configurability options to go with each one of them, with the idea being moving more and more towards the PDF rather than the native file being the document of record in the system, and the PDF being the one that all your viewers access. They don't have to open up the native file to view it. There is a new AutoCAD DWG Rendering Engine up until now to automatically publish AutoCAD drawings to PDF. It would be automated so that it automatically called up a full copy of AutoCAD to generate the PDF, or it used the built-in AutoView viewer that's built into Meridian. AutoCAD had the advantage of being very accurate, but then you had the overhead in terms of setting aside a PC and having a copy of AutoCAD to generate these PDFs. The AutoView didn't add cost, was fairly accurate, but not always 100%. So the new Tega rendering engine gives good accuracy without the additional cost and overhead of allocating a copy of AutoCAD for the publishing. There's also a new Raster rendering engine, where a lot of people, a lot of plants may have scanned their old paper drawings to TIFF format. We see that out there a lot. And again, there's not a lot of viewers for TIFFs, so it would be better if those TIFFs were really in PDF format. So the new Raster rendering engine can automatically convert any of the file types listed there from one of those less common Raster formats to the more common PDF format. Then this is just a shot of the configuration screen where all the different file types that might be in your system are listed, and then you can select what rendering engine you wish to use. And if for some reason a file fails to render with one engine, it can fall back to a second or third option for rendering to PDF. One of the big uses of Meridian is in a plant operating environment where there's operation maintenance and maintenance staff needing to be able to search and retrieve drawings or other files 24/7 to perform routine or emergency maintenance on pieces of equipment. And a lot of times what they want to search and retrieve on might be text inside a drawing file describing that piece of equipment. So in order to make that happen, BlueCielo has worked on continuing to improve their text indexing and searching capabilities. So there's now new and improved iFilters for doing text searching within AutoCAD DWG and Microsoft DGN files. Now, I don't know if anyone here on this broadcast owns licenses of the BlueCielo Explorer, which is their search view print client, again, largely designed for operations and maintenance people, or maybe customer service personnel, people who don't need to create or edit or sign off on drawings. The Explorer is a very easy to use, inexpensive, browser-based client for search view print users. The Explorer is also available in mobile for iPads, because a lot of plants may have people who are on the move around the plant and they need to be at a piece of equipment and open a drawing. They're not at a desk. So BlueCielo has the iPad mobile version of their Explorer, and 2016 has a lot of improvements there for supporting drawings with multiple views, better searching, and then improved commenting. And the Explorer Mobile, so if a maintenance person finds a problem with a piece of equipment, right on their iPad, they can mark up on that drawing, and those comments will automatically be routed back to engineering. Also, with Explorer Mobile, they now have the ability to attach a photograph to an equipment record, other things like that. So they're not altering the document, but they're attaching more information to it, either for their future use or to be routed back to engineering. Of course, another big item with all the Meridian updates are what new software is now supported and also what older software is no longer supported. So here you can see all the versions of AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor, SolidWorks, and MicroStation that are supported by Meridian 2016. So you can see on the Autodesk side and the SolidWorks side as well, support is up to and including the 2016 versions of the software. And then with all of them, they only go back as far as 2013. So if you're on AutoCAD 2012, it's technically not supported by Meridian any longer. So if you are using that, you definitely want to check with us to see what issues going to Meridian 2016 might cause as a result of that. And also you can see Office 2016 is now supported as well. Then more on the IT side, here you can see all the versions of Windows client software, Windows Server software, Internet Explorer, SQL, and Oracle that are supported. Just some things you might run into there. So SQL Server 2005 is no longer supported. Versions of IE older than version 9 are not supported. And also then Windows Server 2003, which that's getting pretty long in the tooth anyway, that is not supported. Now another big thing for a few of our customers, not that many anymore, is that some features that have been in Meridian a long time have been removed. Most of our customers have gone away from them, but we still could have a few customers using some of the technology or features. AMFS, which originally stood for AutoManager File System. 2016 no longer supports AMFS, and most people are already using local workspace. With AMFS, all file interaction, opening, closing, saving, is directed back to the Meridian server, where with local workspace, when a user accesses a file in Meridian, the file is automatically routed to the local workspace folder on their computer, and then all their opening, closing, saving is to the local workspace, and then local workspace automatically synchronizes with the Meridian server. That's what most of our customers have gone to. If you have a concern that you may be using AMFS, you'd want to check with us about that. Also, the work area functionality has been discontinued with Meridian 2016, and project folders, which is part of the basic Meridian software, is the replacement feature for work areas. Also, work isolation mode. I don't know if we have anyone still using work isolation mode. If you're doing the commands create working copy, submit working copy, those would be the commands you see. That means you're using work isolation mode. Where if you're using start quick change, release quick change, or start change and release, or any other workflow steps in between, then you're already using the newer technology and would be okay. So if anyone does have any questions or concerns as to if end of life on these features might impact them, be sure and check with us. Now, the next level up on Meridian, Meridian Standard, we may or may not have anyone on this broadcast who is using those modules. That would relate to the Advanced Project Workflow, Shared Workspace, Global Collaboration Framework, and the Enterprise Server software versus the base server. And the main thing we want to focus on there is some of the new data exchange capabilities that are part of the Enterprise server. And this gets into the import-export options for collaborating with outside engineering firms or contractors. So the tools that exist in Meridian, some of these you may be familiar with. Import from a database, which is in the configurator. Many of you may have done that, or we had worked with you to initially populate the system using import from a database. The document import tool, which is in the power user, designed for importing packages of documents received in. Typically, I have a spreadsheet with metadata about the documents and the list of documents. Import from there. You have the archive tool, which is in the administrator, and the archive tool just writes files and data out from Meridian to an Excel spreadsheet and to Windows folders. A new capability in the archive tool in 2016 is you can have the archive tool just write out the document information, the list of files and their properties, and not actually export the files themselves. Now the import-export packages, that's what we're going to look at next, and that is new and is part of the Enterprise server. Now I don't think if you're on this broadcast, just looking at the list of people who signed up, I don't think anyone currently has that functionality. So if it's something you're interested in, be sure and talk to us about that. Also, not really part of this presentation, we'll be doing a presentation on this product here in a month or so, is the new Meridian 360, which is a cloud-based collaboration tool for collaborating, again, with contractors and engineering firms on engineering projects, and it totally integrates with Meridian and will pass document packages back and forth as one of its features. Again, we won't be focusing on that here today. And for this, I'm going to go back to a presentation with more details on the import-export functionality and cue that up right now.
Deeper now. Meridian 2015 saw the introduction of export packages. With sufficient rights, users can create export packages. Export packages are collections of documents extended with the destination, an audit trail, and revision awareness. An existing collection can be converted into a package and made accessible to specific users. An export package can be created in BlueCielo Explorer and made available to non-Meridian users by publishing the package as a zip to a file server, an FTP server, and a web server, for example. This action uses the BlueCielo Publisher for file system license, just for clarification. So that's on the outgoing side. The Meridian Power clients, both the web client that we see here and the desktop client, can see which packages a particular document has been included in. There's a new page that's been introduced that allows these clients to see which package a particular document has been included in. This is beneficial, especially when a new version of a document is available. The designers and engineers know which package needs to be updated and to which contractor needs to be sent. So when documents have been changed by external parties, they can be transferred to you and now can be imported using the new import package functionality. An import package is a set of documents contained in an archive, a zip file, and an accompanying MS Excel workbook, for example, that includes metadata about the packaged documents. Import packages support external references, XREF from CAD, for example, hyper documents, drawing title block, data exchange, and even multiple revisions of the same document. Import packages are similar to briefcases, but are more powerful. However, the two concepts, import packages and briefcases, are not interchangeable. One way that packages are different from briefcases is that you import packages into Meridian Enterprise according to a set of rules called import profiles. Different import profiles can be configured for different sources, destinations, or purposes of the package. For example, one for each contractor, or one for the project, for example. So we're going to dive into a few more slides about this, and we'll take a look at the software live, how it behaves. Importing a package is easy, actually. Simply let the system know where the Excel sheet is with the metadata and where the zip file containing the documents is to be imported from. Meridian Enterprise Server lets you see how documents will be imported before the import is actually performed. This is very beneficial. This is done first by scanning the package. This lets you verify the import configuration before any changes are made to the destination file. Meridian Enterprise scans and imports the package in the background, which lets you continue working. You can monitor the progress if you want at any time. The scanning of the package, the approving of the package, and the actual importing of the package can be delegated to different people in your organization. For example, the document controller may add the package as it comes in from your contractor and take care of the scanning to make sure the metadata is valid and all CAD references are included. Then maybe the project manager or lead engineer can review and approve the package. And the final import may be done by a drafter or a designer who, in the end, will inherit and be responsible for the imported documents. Training on import and export packages is part of the training offered by BlueCielo Academy as well. A quick view of the document shows us that all the documents were imported correctly, including the drawing with multiple revisions. So let's pause the slideware here for a second, and we'll take a look at the live software to see how we can import a set of documents. Let me switch to the software. We were looking at the audit trail. Let me go ahead and close that. So from here, we can see, for example, that this particular document, maybe in its project state, was included in some, or in this case, has not been included in any packages. We can see that for others as well. So let's go ahead and now import some documents and see how this works. Right from the ribbon, I see Show Import Packages. What I'm going to do is hold down the Control key so that the new page ends up in a new tab for me here and keeps it kind of clean. So the Import Packages functionality can be accessed directly from the web client, as we saw. It can also be accessed from the Explorer user as well. And here we see the functionality in its received state, and we see that there are several packages that have just been received, one from ABB and one from electrical contractor, for example. And we can also filter on the packages as they are scanned, ready for import, or imported and closed, all kinds of things as well. So let's take a look at one package as it follows through these processes. So we'll create a brand new package because we have received some data and documents from a contractor. First of all, we'll point to the Excel spreadsheet that contains all the documents, and we receive this from the mechanical contractor. So we'll choose the spreadsheet that includes all the data, and then we'll tell it where, which profile we're going to use. And remember earlier I mentioned that we can create a profile by, depending on how the documents are going to come in. Are they going to come in differently from different contractors? In this case, I created a profile for each of our contractors. Maybe we have a standard that we're receiving documents a standard way from multiple contractors for a particular project. So I may create a profile for a project, a capital project, for example. That's up to you. So a couple of clicks and I'm ready to go. First of all, it receives or checks the package, makes sure things are okay. And now I'm ready to start the process here. My bar shows me that it's in the initiate stage. It's just been received. It hasn't yet been scanned. And we can, of course, ready to import it until it's finished. So like I said earlier, we can delegate some of the work that's being done here. For example, a document controller or a project manager may receive these documents and enter it into this process. And we'll go ahead and start the scanning process now, which will in turn check the metadata, make sure it matches, check here it's checking all the documents, making sure references are valid, and it says that all the documents are okay, metadata are okay, and we can see the documents that are ready to be imported here in this list. And these are the documents that were included in the zip, and also metadata was included in the spreadsheet. We also see one document that repeats its name 3 times here. I'm just highlighting all 3 to let you know where they are. But it looks like it's the same file with 3 different revisions. We'll see how this one ends up later on. So we've done our first step, which is a scanning, and then we need someone to approve or let us know it's okay to import these documents into a repository. The very same person can approve the documents, or this approval can be delegated to someone else. And of course, this can be controlled through security, who has rights to approve, who has rights to scan documents. Approving this set of documents now allows us, or gives us the green light to start the import process. Maybe an engineering manager is the one to approve it, but the one to actually do the importing will delegate to a designer who's going to inherit the data. So let's go ahead and start the import process. Yep, I'm sure I want to do that. And now what it's going to happen, what it's going to do is read all the metadata, create the documentation in our vault, update any documents that are in there already, link them to anything that we want to, bump up the revision, etc., and we're done. Now, let me check on the documents, make sure things are okay. And it looks like all of them were imported as new documents, including 2 new revisions of our last one that we noticed earlier. So we go back to the overview, and the last step, once we're done with this, we can then close this package, and we're done with it. We can move on to working with our documentation. Yep, we're closing this one, we're finished. So let's go to our Meridian Vault using our web client to see where these documents landed. Let me switch now to the web client, and we imported them into our refinery expansion project, and now we see lots of documents have landed in here, including in the mechanical folder. We see that there is the installation details that we imported earlier that had multiple revisions. And I'm going to take a look at, from the document menu, I'm going to show the revisions. And it looks like all 3 revisions came in okay. And I can select multiples. And of course, from even the web client, I can compare them to see what has changed between revision A and revision B that our contractor sent to us. So we see that the left window shows us revision A, the right window shows us revision B, and of course the third window shows us the 2 documents overlapping in a comparison. It looks like some more details being added to the drawing as we were progressing in the project, for example. So this looks really good.
All right, well, let's wrap it up here. The Meridian Plus, which typically relates to the asset management module, a couple of new features that I talk about. One is tag extraction for Microsoft DGN files. I had it with AutoCAD files before. What this relates to is, a lot of companies might have equipment drawings or P&ID drawings with text on those drawings that relate to your equipment numbers, which are used to track documents in your maintenance system. And those equipment numbers may be in different formats for different types of equipment, or the format of the equipment number on the drawing may be different from how it is in your maintenance management system, but still you want to get them linked up. With the asset management module of Meridian, it's got the capability of creating configuration rules to read that text and then automatically get it linked up to the appropriate pieces of equipment so that somebody can search on a piece of equipment and then click and get all the documents relating to it, or they could search for a drawing, click, and get all the pieces of equipment that it relates to. Oh, and then I didn't have a slide on it, but the other thing, BlueCielo now is fully, the asset management module has integrated with SAP Preventive Maintenance for a long time. There are a ton of customers out there using it already, but with the 2016 release, new, more automated functionality has been added, and the BlueCielo asset management module is fully SAP certified because of that higher level of integration. So that kind of concludes my presentation. At this point, we can see if we have any questions out there. I'll expand the question panel. I don't think we have any, don't have any out there at this point. We'll wait a bit. Let's see if anyone has any questions they wish to type in. In the meantime, Ashley, do you have any wrap-up information before we close and while we're waiting?
Yes, I will just say that if you think of questions later for Matt, you can just simply reply to that confirmation or reminder email you receive from GoToWebinar, and we can get those to Matt to answer your questions. And once again, if you could take a few moments to fill out the short survey, we would appreciate it. It will automatically pop up when we close down the session here. I don't see anything that's popped in, so I guess we will go ahead and conclude the broadcast. But thanks, Matt, and thank you for attending today's webcast, and have a great day.